Hello, my name's AstroGamerSteve, and today I'm going to show you some cool ways to manipulate the falling sand entity using command blocks. So first of all, I'm going to show you how to go about doing it. You'll need the /summon command with falling sand and then the coordinates of wherever you want to put it. This is just an example of coordinates. So if I go ahead and try this command out, what you'll see is that as soon as it spawns, it automatically deletes itself, and that's because it hasn't got the appropriate metadata to tell it to actually not delete itself. Funnily, by default, it doesn't exist. So what you'll need to do is add in some of these tags afterwards. For example, tile ID, which allows you to change what block it is. It normally starts as sand, surprisingly enough, but you can tell it to be another block, whatever you like really. Now you'll need this time :1, because that tells it to not delete itself. That's kind of important. Then drop item. If it's 1 and you break the block in survival mode, it will drop what it normally drops. If you set this to 0, then it won't drop anything. It's basically do tile drop no. So if I were to try this out, you'll see that it spawns a piece of stone that, strangely enough, has physics applied to it, because it's technically a piece of sand that looks like and functions as a piece of stone. So functions as is kind of important, because you can have some pretty special blocks which still work even though they look like what they're supposed to be, what you've told them to be, but they fall like sand. That's what I'm trying to say. So in this one, we've got the motion tag, which allows you to tell it to move. So this one is quite cool. Look at this. We have a bouncing piece of lapis lazuli, or lapis lazuli, or however you want to pronounce it. I don't really care. You can make it throw itself up in the air, you can make it tell it to go wherever you want. So here we have tile ID 123, which is a redstone lamp, and we've told it to bounce up into the air, but it will land on this pressure plate, and this creates quite an interesting effect. Just watch this. Yep, bouncing redstone lamp. There we are. So what you'll see all over the floor, what's actually happening is that because the pressure plate is not a solid block, the redstone lamp lands on it and gets broken into an item. And because there's an item on a wooden pressure plate, the wooden pressure plate gets activated and sends a signal to the command block, which spawns another redstone lamp. That falls back on the pressure plate, and it repeats the cycle over and over again, infinitely, until you take away the pressure plate, of course. So here we have this one has a couple of things I need to say about it. First of all, you'll see here 138:3. Now if the command block doesn't recognize what kind of block you're telling the sand to be, then it will simply make the sand sand. And what you just saw there was the sand falling ridiculously fast, and that's because I've used a negative value on the y-axis, -5, and 5 is actually quite powerful, and the strongest you can have is 10. If you go higher than that, it doesn't work. So I'm basically telling it to fall much faster than gravity normally makes it, which could be useful for adventure maps where you're on an alien planet with extreme gravity, or if you just want to make a really brutal anvil trap. That could be useful for that too. So here we have another example of what you can do with all this motion. We've got a y value of 0.3, which is just enough to slide it up one block. 127 is the cocoa beans. So what you'll see in just a second is the cocoa beans slide up through the floor and land on the jungle wood. So yeah, you can imitate the beans actually being grown out of the wood, which is kinda cool. So that is all I have to say on this matter, except for one thing that you may have been noticing as I've been walking past all these command blocks. We here have a fountain, but it's looking a little neglected, partly because the fountain is not fountaining, it has no water in it. Well, we can fix that with these commands that I've just shown you, and this button which is hooked up to a load of command blocks. Now watch this. There's the water and... That's right, these command works with liquid blocks as well, so you can use water and lava. Now I've used a combination of /set block so that I can put these water blocks here, because obviously if they try to fall they just land on top there, but these ones you saw falling from the sky. So it works with any kind of block really, whether it's a solid block, a non-solid block or a water block. So there you go, there's some cool examples of what you can do with this. My name's been AstroGamerSteve, you've been watching this video, and I'll see you next time. No.